The UK has voted to leave the European Union.
Since the referendum, Britain's been hit with fears over Brexit.
Food and medicine shortages, panic buying,
crisis at the border,
a rise in public disorder.
And then there's this.
Join me at Donald Trump's House of Wings.
Chlorinated chicken, which, as unpalatable as it sounds, could form part of a new trade deal between Britain and America post-Brexit. So, is it another thing to worry about?
Chicken wings, yeah!
Let's start off with that odd name. What on earth does it mean? Chlorinated chicken is a catch-all term that's been used to describe the process of disinfecting poultry meat produced in the US. Near the end of a production line, birds go through chemical rinses that kill off harmful bacteria like E. coli, Salmonella and Campylobacter, basically things which you definitely don't want to be eating. Okay, so this sounds like it's a public health story, right? I mean, it can't be good for you eating chlorine.
Dr. Fox, would you personally feel comfortable eating chlorine-washed chicken?
And on the surface, this is what you'd think, especially as chlorinated chicken has been banned in the EU since 1997. However, in 2005, the European Food Safety Authority found that the trace amounts of chemicals from chlorinated chicken posed no safety concern for consumers. And in fact, most supermarket-prepared salads and bagged vegetables are chlorine-washed. Plus, we've been drinking this stuff from our taps for decades. So, if it's not about drinking chlorine...
You voted Brexit, now you're going to get the chlorinated chicken?
Then why is chlorinated chicken ruffling so many feathers?
The British media are obsessed with chlorine-washed chickens.
The EU's major worry is that chemical rinses could be used to hide poor practices within chicken farms and factories. To understand this, we're going to take a quick look at how poultry is mass-produced. And a warning, things might get a bit grim. To satisfy global demand, chicken is produced on an industrial scale. Most birds live for around 40 days, reared in their thousands inside crowded sheds and fed to an unnatural size. Once slaughtered, they'll join a semi-automated factory line to be defeathered, gutted and portioned up ready for sale. This is how 95% of all chicken bought in the UK is made, and producing chicken at this pace means the threat of disease and bacterial cross-contamination is very high, which in the US is where chemical rinses come in. Within the EU though, a principle called farm to fork legislates a safety-first approach to hygiene and animal welfare across agriculture, which in theory makes chemical rinses unnecessary. Minimum living standards for things like how much space birds have to roam, ammonia levels, even lighting conditions are all set by laws. Whereas in the US, similar standards are only guidelines that farmers choose to opt in or out of. Combine this laid-back lawmaking with chemical rinses, and you have the potential for serious malpractice to be covered up. And that's what bothers the EU. For example, chemical rinses could hide the fact that a farm abuses birds or overcrowds sheds, and they could also mask poor hygiene during processing, where its vital cross-contamination risks are properly managed. So on leaving the European Union, Britain must face a dilemma. Will it keep the same food safety standards from the EU, or move towards less regulated models, like the US? Neither method is 100% guaranteed against an outbreak of foodborne illness, but is one safer than the other? The simple answer is, it's complicated.
Oh my, okay.
Official figures would suggest that your general chances of getting food poisoning are higher in America.
Oh.
But trying to compare these figures and those of poultry-borne disease is hard to do, as the data isn't like for like. However, one study in 2018 did find that chemical rinses may reduce, but not totally kill off harmful bacteria. Chlorinated chicken then may not be the big scare story for the reasons you'd expect. But one place you might find real fear is within Britain's own farming communities.
This is the key question because it would undermine British production.
We've got English agriculture working on very, very tight margins and very high standards.
The threat to British farmers from importing cheap US chicken could leave many of them struggling to compete unless standards were dropped.
We as a nation have got to make up our minds whether we want really cheap and cheerful, in which case a lot of English agriculture will go to the wall.
None of this will matter if Brexit doesn't happen, but if it does, and a US-UK trade deal is agreed, Brits will likely find American chickens chilling alongside British and EU ones in supermarket fridges. So what might these choices boil down to? Well, if you want the best animal welfare, look out for these logos on the label. If you're worried about standards generally, choosing British or EU chicken would be the best option. But if price matters most, then American chlorinated chicken could be your meal ticket. The fear to this story isn't so much about eating wings with an unhealthy side of chlorine.
I feel like I've just swallowed a f***ing mouthful of bandages.
It's more to do with importing cheap, unregulated food into Britain and what that could do to things like food safety, animal welfare and UK farming. Ultimately though, the decision on whether the UK will accept chlorinated chicken will be made by British consumers at the checkouts. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. We want to know what you think in the comments below. Like, would it be enough to put you off your Sunday roast if you knew that your chicken was chlorine washed? If you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe, and click here to support The Guardian.